This is probably my oldest piece that I have. This is a William and Mary chest from 1690. The bottom frame that you see there is 200 years later. These pieces here were usually on ball or onion feet. And one thing about the the William and Mary period is that the feet and the legs were very rickety and they did not last. And here is another piece from that era, and this is extremely rickety. You can move that very easy. Now one thing, the next period, which was Queen Anne, one thing they improved on was the legs, so that the legs and the feet were much more sturdy. So this bottom frame was made because of that. And it was very typical for highboys like this, in the Queen Anne highboys, for the tops and the bottoms to be separated to make separate pieces of furniture. The tops got legs or feet or a frame. The bottoms got a top. And this one got a frame about 200 years later. And what's unique about this frame is these are the biggest Queen Anne legs I have ever seen. This one over there. That one's cracked and has some replacement to it. I don't know when these legs were made. Late 18th century or early 19th century. The drawer was made to match. Remember, this is 1880s. This is 1690s. Somebody thought of this top piece so much that they actually spent a lot of time and money to make a frame, and they bought English walnut, and that inlay that you see is not wood like it is here. This inlay is brass. They spent a lot of money to make such a beautiful frame. This piece here comes from a 1700s chest. This piece here goes to this top piece. So this is made up of some old pieces and some new pieces. New in the 1880s. Because you could see some of the newer pieces have circular saw marks. And circular saws weren't used until the 1860s. Now up here, you could see, I'll show you some, this here, this heart, was very popular in the 1690s. And the veneer is all hand cut. They would take a log, put it upright, and then two men on either side of the log with the same saw would saw pieces, slices of log, like you slice a tomato. And of course it'll be thicker than modern veneer, which is cut by machine, but it will be kind of wavy, thin and thick, because no human being can be so precise. And look at the dovetails. Let's see if I can show the dovetail. It was so early in the period, one dovetail. And I'll show you the bottom, the second drawer. Two dovetails. Now consider a 1760s piece. I'll show you. I'll put it up here. 1760s piece. And look at how many dovetails that has. You turn it around. That has 1, 2, 3, 4 dovetails, and is not as big as the second drawer I showed you. And the back is also dovetailed. But the back of this piece is not dovetailed, it's nailed. Because prior to the 1680s and 90s, they would nail the side to the front. Dovetails were invented, they used them on the front only, eventually they used them in the back also. You have a nice original lock with handmade nails, and you can see the boards go north to south, which is prior to 1750, In 1750 they went east to west. The reason? For some reason north to south cracks more, east to west does not. And this little plug here, like I said, this had ball feet, and as it went into the case, this is how round the little neck of the ball foot was as it entered the case. Very small, and thus it failed. Another thing about how do you date some of these things. Now these brasses have been replaced. These middle ones might be 18th century, but these on the left, as you could see the holes there on either side. Somebody in the 1740s or 50s put Queen Anne brasses in. You could see the shadow there. And they modernized it. That's how you modernized it. And then someone plugged those holes and put proper brasses in. Now, I'll show you the inside where the cotter pins, the old cotter pins used to go. You could see the damage. See in that middle, see above it, north and south? That's where the cotter pins went. And the damage, that's the original 1690s damage from the cotter pins. There are the holes from the later Queen Anne. So somebody really valued this piece, really took care of it. And you could see, look at on this piece here I'm showing. I can't point because I have the light. See the wear right there where it's scooped out? 300 plus years of wear. Same there. That's what you look for in antiques. You need to see some wear because these were used. There you see, there you can see a little bit where the runners are of the wear. And another thing, important thing, is back in the 1690s they used to pin the veneer. And right there, right in the middle, you see a pin. See that little circular it looks like a C? There's a pin. And then there's one over here in the same spot. And then as you go down here, a bigger drawer, there's a pin. There's a pin. Okay, each one has a pin. But when you come down to the 1880s drawer, no pin. And little clues like that will show you that's odd why the cabinet maker would do it here and not here, because this bottom piece here is later. Again, look at those fat Queen Anne feet. Fortunately, this one has a little bit of damage and some replacement on the bottom. So a really nice piece. I'm not sure I'll take this drawer out and show you the back. It's very heavy because it's made out of oak. Can't hold the camera and do the same thing. So you notice how you have that big dovetail there. Over here, none. It's all nailed. And I'll show you how it's nailed. Just turn it on its side. And you could see how it's scooped out a little bit? Cabinet maker made it thin there, and there are your nails. There's some more rose head nails there. And then over here, on the side, more nails. You would think, why didn't they dovetail it? Well, back then it was new, and they didn't think they had to do the back. They didn't think they had to do the back. Those nails are over 300 years old. And that's how they did it back then. And and you could see from this angle how this board, the thickness, and then how he planed it thinner to match there. And then there's your north-south drawers, bottoms. That helps to date the piece prior to 1750, and this person put a divider in. This piece is all made by hand. So I'm going to put the camera down for a minute because I have to put this drawer back. Alright, so you can see the side there. This is all veneered. Veneer was very important in the 1690s to the 1720s, the William and Mary period. 1690, pretty old. Pretty old. Thanks for watching.